Good evening and welcome to our in-depth coverage of a critical week in Washington, where Senate Republicans are racing to advance President Donald Trump's sweeping domestic policy bill, known as the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. This massive legislation, narrowly passed by the House, now faces a pivotal moment in the Senate, with GOP leaders aiming to finalize key details this week. However, with a self-imposed July 4th deadline fast approaching, growing skepticism and internal divisions threaten to derail the effort. The Senate Finance Committee is poised to release its portion of the bill's text as early as today, a move that could determine the legislation's fate. This section tackles some of the most contentious issues, including deep cuts to Medicaid, the elimination of taxes on tips and overtime, core Trump campaign promises, and the divisive state and local tax SALT deduction cap. These provisions are central to the GOP's $3 trillion economic package, which aims to make permanent the 2017 tax cuts, introduce new business tax breaks, and fund robust border security measures. The SALT deduction cap, raised to $40,000 in the House version to secure votes from moderate Republicans in high-tax states like New York, New Jersey, and California, is a major sticking point. Many Senate Republicans view this increase as a handout to blue states and are pushing for a significantly lower cap, potentially as a placeholder. This risks alienating House Republicans, who have warned that altering the cap could jeopardize the bill's passage when it returns to the House. Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma, bridging the two chambers, stressed the need for compromise, saying, "We're going to fight for our position and they should too. We'll find a happy place." House Speaker Mike Johnson has urged the Senate to stick closely to the House's deal, heightening the stakes. Medicaid cuts are another flashpoint. The House bill slashes over $800 billion from the program through stricter work requirements and cost shifting to states, raising concerns among Senate Republicans, especially those from rural areas. Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri has been vocal, demanding no cuts to Medicaid benefits, stating, "I want to see this bill improve." The Congressional Budget Office projects that the House's Medicaid changes could strip coverage from 10.4 million people, a prospect that worries senators about the impact on rural hospitals and constituents. Senators like Tommy Tuberville of Alabama have flagged the potential harm from limiting state provider taxes, which fund Medicaid. With a slim 53-47 Senate majority, GOP leaders can lose only 3 votes, including Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, who opposes the bill's $4 trillion debt ceiling hike. Efforts to win over holdouts like Hawley, whose support may depend on including the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, and Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, who has softened his stance after pushing for spending cuts, are intensifying. Moderate Senators Susan Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska remain undecided, citing concerns over Medicaid cuts and the phase-out of renewable energy credits. One GOP senator suggested that dialogue, not pressure, is key to securing their votes, noting their support for the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. A surprise dispute over border funding has added to the tension. The bill allocates $46.5 billion for Trump's border security priorities, including wall construction and deportations. Senator Paul's attempt to cut this by over half sparked backlash from the White House and Senate leadership, with Senate Budget Committee Chair Lindsey Graham restoring the full amount. This clash, labeled by one Republican as Paul being the turd in the punch bowl, highlights the challenge of maintaining party unity. Time is running short. The Senate is in session only until Wednesday due to the Juneteenth holiday, and GOP leaders are pushing to release all committee reports by week's end for a floor vote the week of June 23. Senate Majority Leader John Thune has signaled readiness to work through the July 4th recess if needed, a prospect some senators view as the real deadline. Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana expressed doubt, saying, "I don't think the House is just going to accept what we do." As the Senate navigates these challenges, this week's negotiations will decide whether Trump's bold tax and spending plan becomes law or falters amid GOP infighting. Stay tuned for updates on this high-stakes drama, with the nation watching to see if Republicans can deliver by Independence Day.